If your grocery cart still looks the same as it did 20 years ago, that might be exactly why your body doesn't feel the same anymore. Here's the truth most people over 50 aren't told. It's not just aging that slows you down. It's what you keep putting on your plate every single day. I'm going to walk you through how to shop differently so your metabolism finally works with you, not against you. And yes, this is exactly how Dr. Boz teaches beginners to take back control of their health without complicated rules. Once you cross 50, your hormones shift, your muscle mass naturally declines, and your insulin sensitivity drops. That means the same cereal, bread, and snack foods you used to tolerate now push your blood sugar higher and keep it there longer. That's when people start noticing stubborn belly fat, afternoon crashes, brain fog, and lab numbers creeping in the wrong direction. Most folks think they just need to eat less, but that usually makes things worse because restriction without strategy slows metabolism even further. What your body really needs is stability, stable blood sugar, stable energy, stable hunger signals. That's why your grocery list matters more than your willpower. When your kitchen is stocked with foods that keep insulin low and nutrients high, your body finally gets the message that it's safe to burn stored fat. That's the goal here. Not starving, not suffering, just shifting fuel sources. So when you walk into the store, timing actually matters. Don't shop when you're hungry, because your brain will grab quick, burn carbs every time. Go after you've eaten something protein-rich so your decisions come from logic, not cravings, and stick to the outer edges of the store first. That's where real food lives fresh proteins, natural fats, and low-carb plants. The middle aisles are where most of the products live that keep people stuck in the cycle of spikes and crashes. Another thing people over 50 need to understand is recovery matters just as much as food. If you're sleeping 5 hours a night and living on stress hormones, your body will hold on to fat no matter how perfect your grocery list is. Lifestyle isn't separate from diet, it's the switch that turns results on. Even something simple like finishing dinner earlier in the evening can help your body repair overnight instead of digesting all night long. Right now, don't worry about perfection. Focus on awareness. The first step is just noticing what you've been buying automatically for years. Because the moment you become intentional about what goes into your cart, that's the moment your health story can start changing. And in the next part, I'm going to walk you step by step through exactly what foods belong on a beginner keto grocery list and why they work so powerfully for people over 50. So now that you're thinking differently about how you shop, let's talk about what actually goes into your cart when you're starting keto, especially if you're over 50 and your metabolism needs a little more support than it used to. The first thing I want you to focus on is protein, because this is where most beginners get it wrong. They either eat too little and lose muscle, or they pick processed options that come with hidden sugars and starches. Your body at this stage of life needs clean, steady protein to protect muscle tissue and keep your metabolism from slowing down. That means choosing real, whole sources like eggs, chicken, beef, fish, and turkey. If it has a long ingredient label, it's probably not your best choice. Next comes healthy fat, and this is where a lot of people feel nervous because they've spent decades being told fat is the problem. But when carbs go down, fat becomes your body's new fuel source. The key is picking natural fats, not industrial ones. Think butter, olive oil, avocados, and animal fats that come with real food. These help you feel satisfied so you're not constantly thinking about snacks. Hunger stability is one of the first signs you're doing keto correctly, and it often surprises people how quickly cravings quiet down when their blood sugar stops bouncing all day. Now let's talk about vegetables. Because keto is not a no-vegetable plan, it's about choosing the right ones. You want options that grow above ground rather than below it. Leafy greens, zucchini, Cucumbers, asparagus, and broccoli are great examples. They give you fiber, minerals, and volume on your plate without pushing your carb count too high. Root vegetables like potatoes and carrots can spike glucose fast, which is exactly what we're trying to avoid while your system is relearning how to burn fat efficiently. Another smart strategy is deciding your shopping rhythm. Instead of buying 2 weeks worth of food and hoping it stays fresh, try shopping every few days for perishables. Fresh food tends to lead to better choices, and it keeps you engaged with what you're eating instead of relying on whatever's sitting in the pantry. That small habit shift can make a huge difference in consistency, which matters more than perfection. Also pay attention to beverages, because drinks can quietly sabotage progress. Juice, soda, and even many healthy smoothies are loaded with sugar. Water, mineral water, black coffee, and unsweetened tea are much better options. Hydration helps your kidneys flush out excess ketones and keeps your energy steady, especially in the early weeks while your body is adapting. At this point, your goal isn't to memorize a complicated list. It's to build a simple rotation of foods you enjoy and can prepare easily. When meals are simple, you stick with them. And when you stick with them, your body finally gets the consistent signal it needs to heal, stabilize, and start tapping into stored fuel instead of demanding quick sugar fixes. Now here's something most beginners don't realize until they've struggled for weeks. When you start changing your grocery list, your body is also going through a timing reset. After 50, your internal clock becomes more sensitive, which means when you eat can matter almost as much as what you eat. If you're grazing from morning to midnight, your insulin never gets a chance to come down, and without that drop, your body can't switch into fat burning mode. One of the simplest habits you can build is giving yourself eating windows instead of constant snacking. Even starting with a 12-hour overnight break between dinner and breakfast can make a noticeable difference in energy and appetite. A lot of people worry they'll feel deprived if they don't snack, but what actually happens when you're eating the right keto foods is the opposite. Because your meals contain protein and natural fats, they digest slowly and keep you full longer. That steady fuel is what helps your brain stay clear and your mood stay level. Many people over 50 say the first change they notice isn't weight at all. It's mental sharpness. They stop walking into rooms and forgetting why they went there. They stop needing that afternoon pick me up just to function. That's a sign your metabolism is stabilizing. Another lifestyle piece that matters is movement, but not in the way diet culture has taught you. You don't need exhausting workouts to make keto work. In fact, extreme exercise can raise stress hormones and slow progress if your body is already under strain. What you want is consistent, gentle activity that tells your muscles they're still needed. Walking, light resistance training, stretching, or even gardening can all support metabolic health. Muscle is your metabolic engine, and after 50, your body won't hold on to it unless you give it a reason. Let's also talk about labels, because the grocery store can be confusing when products shout words like low carb or keto friendly. Marketing can be misleading. Some of those items are packed with artificial ingredients that still spike insulin or trigger cravings. A good rule is this: the shorter the ingredient list, the better. If you can recognize every ingredient and imagine it coming from a farm instead of a factory, you're usually on the right track. Real food is predictable for your body. Processed food is not. And don't underestimate preparation as part of your lifestyle strategy. When you get home from shopping, take a few minutes to prep something simple. Wash vegetables, cook a batch of protein, or portion snacks. That tiny bit of effort removes decision stress later, especially on busy days when you're tired and tempted to grab whatever's easiest. Success on keto isn't about motivation in the moment. It's about making future choices easier for yourself. What's happening here is you're retraining your system step by step. Your hunger hormones start listening again. Your energy starts lasting longer. Your sleep often improves. These are signals that your body is shifting from sugar, burning chaos to steady fuel use. And once that shift begins, everything else starts getting easier, including staying consistent with the foods you buy and the habits you build. There's another piece people over 50 often overlook, and that's how stress interacts with your food choices. You can have the cleanest keto grocery list in the world, but if your stress is high all day long, your body releases cortisol, and cortisol tells your system to hold on to fat and raise blood sugar. That's not a failure on your part, that's biology. So part of this journey is learning how to lower stress signals so your body feels safe enough to let go of stored fuel. That can be as simple as stepping outside for sunlight in the morning, taking slow breaths before meals, or creating a consistent wind down routine at night. Small signals of safety add up. Now let's connect that back to your shopping habits, because your environment shapes your decisions more than your motivation does. If your kitchen is filled with high-carb snacks, eventually you'll eat them, especially when you're tired or emotional. But when your shelves are stocked with foods that support your goals, you remove that daily battle. This is why I tell beginners to do a pantry reset when they start. You don't need to waste food, but you do need to change what's easily available. Make the better choice the convenient choice. That's how habits stick. Something else that really helps is creating a simple meal rhythm. Not a rigid plan, just a predictable pattern. Maybe you rotate 3 breakfasts, 3 lunches, and 3 dinners you enjoy. That removes decision fatigue, which is a big deal after 50 because mental energy becomes more valuable. The less you have to think about what to eat, the easier it is to stay consistent. Consistency is what allows your hormones to rebalance and your metabolism to relearn efficiency. Electrolytes are another tip most beginners wish they'd known earlier. When carbs drop, your body releases stored water, and along with that water goes sodium, potassium, and magnesium. If you don't replace them, you might feel tired, lightheaded, or foggy and assume keto isn't working for you. In reality, your body just needs minerals. Salting your food, drinking broth, or choosing mineral-rich foods can make a huge difference in how you feel during the transition phase. Also remember that progress after 50 doesn't always show up first on the scale. Sometimes it shows up as looser clothes, steadier moods, or waking up before your alarm with real energy. Those are powerful signs your internal chemistry is changing. When you notice those wins, it builds momentum, and momentum is what keeps people going long enough to see lasting results. So as you keep building your keto grocery routine, think of it as setting up your future self for success. Every time you choose foods that stabilize blood sugar and support hormones, you're sending your body a message that you're ready to work with it instead of against it. And when your body feels supported, it responds in ways that feel almost surprising, like it's finally been given the instructions it was waiting for all along. And here's where everything starts to come together, because once your grocery list, your timing, and your lifestyle begin working in sync, you'll notice something powerful. Your body stops fighting you. That constant tug of war with cravings, fatigue, and stubborn weight starts to quiet down. Not overnight, but steadily. This is the phase where many people realize their health wasn't broken. It was just unsupported. When you consistently give your body the right fuel at the right times, it responds exactly the way it was designed to. One of the most important habits to carry forward is patience. After 50, your body doesn't rush change, and that's actually a good thing. Slow metabolic shifts are more stable and more sustainable. Quick fixes tend to be temporary, but steady improvements tend to last. So instead of asking, why isn't this happening faster? Start asking, are my daily habits lining up with my goals? Because your results are simply the reflection of what you repeat. It also helps to keep your routine realistic. Choose meals you actually enjoy, ingredients you can easily find, and cooking methods you don't dread. If a plan feels complicated, most people abandon it. But when your food is simple and satisfying, it becomes something you look forward to, not something you have to force. That's the difference between a short-term diet and a long-term lifestyle. The goal is not perfection. The goal is sustainability. Another tip is to pay attention to how different foods make you feel personally. Two people can eat the same meal and have completely different responses. Your energy, focus, digestion, and sleep are all forms of feedback. When you start listening to those signals, you learn which foods truly support you and which ones quietly hold you back. That awareness is one of the strongest tools you can develop because it keeps you in tune with your own biology instead of relying on guesswork. And don't forget the power of preparation and reflection. Before each shopping trip, take a quick look at what worked well for you that week and what didn't. Maybe you noticed you felt better on days you ate more protein, or maybe you realized you skipped meals and then over it later. Those observations help you adjust your next grocery list so it keeps supporting your progress. This is how you turn keto from a plan you follow into a skill you own. What I want you to take away from all of this is confidence. You don't need complicated formulas or extreme rules to improve your health after 50. You need consistency, awareness, and a grocery cart filled with foods that work with your body instead of against it. When you start there, everything else becomes simpler. Your energy steadies, your hunger calms, your focus sharpens, and step by step, you begin to feel like yourself again. By this stage, what usually surprises people most is how different their relationship with food feels compared to when they started. In the beginning, most beginners worry about what they can't eat. But after a few weeks of following a clean, simple keto grocery routine, that mindset shifts toward what they get to eat and how good they feel afterward. That's a major turning point, especially after 50, because your body becomes far more responsive to nourishment than it ever was when you were younger. Instead of bouncing between highs and crashes, you begin experiencing steady energy that carries you through the day without needing constant refueling. This is also when discipline starts turning into habit. At first, choosing the right foods takes effort. You read labels, check ingredients, and plan your meals carefully. But repetition rewires your routine. Walking into the store no longer feels overwhelming because you already know where your foods are and what belongs in your cart. Decisions become automatic, and that's powerful because automatic habits don't rely on motivation. They run even on days when you feel tired, busy, or distracted. That's the real secret most successful people discover. Consistency beats intensity every time. Another change that often happens around this point is improved body awareness. You start noticing subtle signals you may have ignored for years. You can tell when you're truly hungry versus just bored or stressed. You can recognize when a food leaves you energized versus sluggish. That awareness is your internal guidance system, and once it turns back on, it becomes easier to make choices that support your health without feeling restricted. Instead of following strict rules, you begin responding intelligently to what your body is telling you. Now let's talk about long-term sustainability, because this is where many people either thrive or drift back into old habits. The key is flexibility within structure. Your foundation stays the same: real proteins, natural fats, low-carb vegetables, hydration, and consistent timing. But within that foundation, you can rotate flavors, recipes, and ingredients so you never feel stuck. Variety keeps your brain engaged and prevents the boredom that often leads people to quit. Even small changes like trying a new seasoning, cooking method, or vegetable can make meals feel fresh again. Social situations are another area people worry about, especially gatherings, restaurants, or holidays. The trick is preparation, not avoidance. Look at menus ahead of time. Eat a protein-rich snack before events so you're not starving, and focus on conversation more than food when you're there. Most places can adjust meals if you simply ask. And remember, one imperfect meal doesn't undo your progress. What matters is what you consistently do, not what you occasionally do. Confidence grows when you realize you can stay in control of your choices no matter where you are. You may also notice changes beyond weight and energy, things like clearer skin, steadier moods, or improved sleep patterns. Those improvements are signs your internal chemistry is stabilizing. Blood sugar swings calm down, inflammation often decreases, and your nervous system shifts out of constant alert mode. These changes don't just affect how you look. They affect how you experience daily life. Tasks feel easier. Thinking feels sharper. Even your outlook can feel more positive because your physiology is no longer working against you. At this point, it helps to remind yourself why you started. Maybe you wanted more energy to keep up with family, better lab results, clearer thinking, or simply to feel comfortable in your own body again. Keeping that reason in mind strengthens your commitment, especially on days when progress feels slow. Real health isn't built in dramatic leaps. It's built through steady choices repeated over time. Every grocery trip, every meal, every routine you follow is another brick in that foundation. So as you continue forward, think of this not as a diet phase, but as a life skill you've developed. You now understand how to shop in a way that supports your metabolism, how to time your meals so your body can repair and burn fuel efficiently, and how to shape your environment so success becomes the natural outcome. That knowledge stays with you. And once you have it, you're no longer guessing about your health. You're guiding it, step by step, with confidence and clarity.